Greetings, fellow Demon Slayers. This is Taimanin Mari in Tech, and we are here today with another Action Taimanin video. So, for today's topic, we finally are going to talk about Ultra's predictions on the color meta that could be incoming, and just, any other things that we think may be implemented in the game, or just kind of a soft prediction video. Not necessarily on like what character is coming or blah blah blah, but more so how the game could change and what content they could add to like appease in-game players and make the game more challenging. And of course, we do have Ultra here in the video. I'm super happy about that because he's a bro. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna start with this, so you said from your experience playing Dokkan that you think they may add color restricted towers later. So that's the first thing I want to touch on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing because the content they've been giving out essentially, and a lot of the supporters and things like that, with them going to this strictly color based typing, as far as how it was, and we can go back a little bit further than that, but we'll start with like the fact that like Nagi was like okay for suppress and Shizuru's for suppress and Kurenai's supporter was for protect. There's no reason to inject that meta into the game if you're trying to get everybody to just use what they currently use. Because if I like Yuki and I just want to play Yuki forever and ever and ever, then I'm never going to want to buy a supporter that's good for protect. Why would I summon for that? It doesn't make any sense. And Tak can tell you, from us playing Dokkan, we're like, oh, well, my favorite team is Fusion, so why would I play with anybody else? And then they started dropping content. It was like, well, you could only take Super Saiyans into this team. Okay, well, a couple of my Fusions are Super Saiyans, so I'm okay, but I don't have a Super Saiyan team. Now I got to go build me a Super Saiyans team. And it's just a way for them to, one, make the game more diverse so you don't get locked into to monotony, and two, it's just so the way they can get you to spend money. Because at the end of the day, if you're a free-to-play sitting on 15,000 gems because you don't summon for anything other than something that pertains to Yuki, then you're never going to need to spend a dime in the game. And they don't want that. They want you to spend money in the game. So the way they do it is by introducing metas, and I think the color meta is an obvious one. Like literally they're dropping supporters left, right, and center that are just specific to a color of the character, not even the color of the typing of the supporter, the color of the character.
Yeah, it is very specific, and it like I agree with you. Like when you said it, it kind of like alarms went off in my head. I was like, oh wow, that doesn't make sense. It's just that I've never played a gacha with colors. Like all the gachas I've played, it was kind of your typical like this girl's OP, buy her, because this game uses a color system, and like I didn't know Dokkan had done that because I never played it. So knowing that Dokkan does that, and I've heard that also RPGX, the other X-rated Taimanin game that's a gacha, does it as well. And I've actually heard that they have colored towers monthly, and then they have the tower like what we have right now where you can beat it once and then it doesn't ever reset. So I don't know if this is true because I've heard it all secondhand and I've never played the game. But would you like a colored monthly tower? Like, so for example, like in March we have red and you can only use red girls, and then maybe in like April it goes to like the blue girl. And it just rotates monthly with various of rewards. Do you think that would be healthy for the game? Or do you think it would turn certain levels of players away? Because I know free-to-plays may feel isolated because maybe they don't have the characters or they don't have the means to gear that many characters. So I'd love to know how you think it would affect the community.
So I think the reason it would be a plus is because first and foremost, this is the only game that I've ever played gacha-wise where you're guaranteed to get every character. So that right there eliminates most of the problem. Because the problem with the gacha market, went through a big change about 4 or 5 years ago in Japan, where they were basically starting to pretty much like really monetize these games and make it where you could not play this game without paying something, or play these gacha games without playing something. And so the Japanese government went after these games. So a lot of these games have now, and Dokkan is a big example of that because they introduced stages where you had to have certain characters types. So like, and I say, so we can just pretend like the colors for the characters in AT is like a type of a character. So like, and Dragon Ball is in the same way. So you have like, you might have Super Saiyans, you might have villains that are related to Frieza, you might have, people who have fought Goku in a final battle, stuff like that. So there's different categories that these teams and these characters are on. And so they would make content for that. Well, if you could not play that, then you felt like, hey, I'm being isolated. Well, how do I do that? Well, I've got to make sure I spend money and something for this character. Well, since the gotcha market was not allowed to do that, what happened was they started dropping these all of a sudden. I can tell you, all of a sudden, free to play characters became ridiculously good. Like they started dropping characters who were really good at you don't have to spend a dime for. And the same thing, and the thing with AT, you don't have to spend any money to get every single waifu in the game. It just costs you 1,200 gems, and you get that from the gem injection from the different aspects of the game. But let's say, for instance, you go, hey, I only want to play with Yuki, and they drop a red tower. Well, like, well, crap, I only have one character. Well, they've given free to plays 2 character tickets, and technically, if you play before the Waifu Wars, you got Kirara for free. So if you picked, as long as you didn't pick Sakura as your first character, and your next character you picked up would have been a blue character. So, because you had blue, red with Yuki, and green with Asagi. So, you've gotten 2, and then we got another one just recently. So, free to plays would have gotten 3 characters by now if you've been playing the game for a while. And then with all the gems they give you from the story mode, stuff like that, you can go in and buy different characters. But the thing is, it's one of those things where if it won't isolate you because it's not going to be something where it's so heavily geared where you have to have like the best of the best of the best. Because as you know, you can take Kaoru and freaking Kitty Bomb and put them on anybody. I mean, everybody's got a good green build, So it's not. I don't think it'd be something where you have to take like 3 characters of the same color in. I think it'd be something where maybe it is a survival kind of tower war, and you go in and it's way scaled back from the regular tower where you take a team of 3 in. It'd be something where it's just like you take one character in and you get these great rewards, and the rewards you get are only for green characters, or only for red characters, or only for blue characters. Something along those lines.
Okay, so that's actually what I was going to ask next. So you don't think it's going to be harder than the regular tower? You think
No,
it's gonna
no.
just be
I think it'd be hard. I think it'd probably be like bonus. I think it'd be like bonus 3 hard,
like bonus
or maybe
4? like a little
like
harder?
a bonus
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little harder than that, and maybe even scales as you go up, so you can't just go through and blow through it. But I think it'd be something like that where you can go in, and it is going to be a challenge for your one character to and play with them. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be something where like, okay, you have to go in with a team of 3, because that right there would be okay. Well, now I have to have 3 green, 3 red, and 3 blue, and I have to gear all 3 of them. That immediately that content is automatically going to kick half your characters on your player base, probably are going to make them feel isolated, and the other half are going to feel like, hey, well, it is what it is, and you might have a lot of people that drop the game because like now all this great rewards I can't get because I don't have this, and now I've got to spend money, blah blah. So I don't think it'd be anything where they're going to make it that tough. I think it'll be more like, to me, like Bleach Brave Souls. You go in, you go once your character, and you just go and blow it up, and you try to do what you can with that one character, and if you don't, then you reset and you go back to and start all over again.
And one of the issues is okay, so as far as for the rewards, so we'll just say blue because I don't know, I thought of blue first. You said that they have color specific rewards. Now I know awakening gems are still very valuable to free to play players, but with the level up packs, like they have no value to like whales or even like anyone who's willing to spend at all anymore. You don't even have to really whale to buy those packs, like, because the value they give you is way cheaper than like what actual whaling in this game was. So what do you think they should give like people who are paying as a reward to compensate, or you don't think the system is for that? You think the system is to help free-to-plays get access to more awakening gems?
Yeah, I think it'd be that, and I think it would be cool they made like they made supporters specifically for that content. So since we know that they don't mind giving us busted, free to play supporters like they did with Nui, maybe put like, I don't know, say maybe like for the Blue Tower, you put a Kirara supporter that's only in that tower. And if you finish blue, and it only works on blue characters, so it doesn't have to just work with Key Ray Ray, but you go in there and finish it, and you can get that character, and you could run it up to 5 times, and then you finish it, or maybe it's stared up, and you can get to the part where you can 5 for 5 that one, or even 3 for 5. Since they said 3 for 5 seems to be where they like to stop for free to plays, you can 3 for 5 that character, and then maybe they're in the desire shop all the time. So you can always pick up 2 extra copies at some point if you wanted to 5 for 5 that character using, desire and gems. But something along those lines, where I think it'd have to be something like that, because I think it just made it where it was just awakening crystal stuff like that. For me, I would do the content anyway because I would just want to go do it and get it over with and wouldn't think twice about it. I think for free to plays, I mean, and to also make it free for paying players is to make it where it was appealing to both of us. So, say for instance, this supporter, or maybe it's I wouldn't say a weapon because a weapon would be really specific to a person, but make it where it's a supporter that's just good for protect type characters, and she's just busted like crazy, crazy good busted, and make it where you can only get 2 copies of it. Period. If you're free to play, that's it. You only get 2 for 5. That's all you can do, and then. If you want to then you can go to the Desire Shop and you can buy as many as you want from the Desire Shop. You can buy up to 3 or something like that. That's to me would make it where this type of tower would help, and it will also help free to plays build their accounts up, because now they go, hey, well, I've got a blue character and she's really good, because they're still summoning on the banners and they're still doing these the events and getting great characters like Reyna. Reyna's one of the best supporters we've ever gotten.
She's amazing.
Critical blue on range. And everybody's got a range type of skill on their kit. So you can drop her into pretty much anybody. I mean, even if they're a melee character, I mean, almost everybody does something that's projectile based. So it's one of those things where I think something like that would probably make it where Wells would be fine, but I don't think that's really well content. I think Tower is well content. I think this type of color tower is really to give free to plays and even small low spenders a way to start building their account up, and also to diversify their accounts with multiple characters, because it doesn't help AT to have you locked into two or 3 chicks only. Because they're never going to get you to pop that cherry. And honestly, let's be real. The whole purpose in this game is for you to find a reason to pop that cherry and spend some money.
Exactly. Like, honestly, I've been being a lot more active ever since you made these predictions, because this isn't something that we just came up with. Like, Ultra's been predicting this since, I want to say, like, late November. He's been talking about they're probably going to start restricting colors, like, at some point, because it's the writing's on the walls, like you said, after we got Nagi and Kurenai. It was
Nagi was my first inkling. Yeah, when they dropped Nagi, that was I was like, that's where we're headed. And I say, and it kind of goes to the point of like, we can talk about it in a bit, but like how the game has already like telegraphed how they're going to handle the meta, and we kind of was like, oh, that's not a big deal, and then we're like, oh crap, the meta just changed, and we just didn't realize and we realized we're in a meta change. It's kind of like, we're sheep, and the shepherd was leading us from field to field, and we didn't realize we went from eating clovers to dandelions to daisies. We were just there and just didn't realize we were there until we look back and go, oh crap, we were eating this a long time ago.
Exactly.
I think that's kind of that's what a lot of these games do. They can't tell you, oh, by the way, the meta is shifting. But like for Takenon, for Dokkan, when the meta shifted from when we originally started playing a game, you had like really minimal leads for the teams, and then they switched it, like then it was color typing. So it was like they started dropping characters like AGL, Super Vegito, and Physical Broly, and basically those characters you can only run physical characters on their team, or AGL characters, so blue or orange or red or green or purple. So it was this mono team meta for a long time, and then all of a sudden the meta changed, and they went to categories, which was basically like hybrid Saiyans or pure Saiyans or GT characters or things like that. So, and the thing is, and they shifted the meta. We're like, oh, okay, well, clearly the meta shifted because they're now only dropping characters that lead teams, as opposed to before we were playing in this color only. And then we're also, and before that meta, the original meta was like you play with anybody you wanted. You just take 6 characters, throw them on your lineup, and go play.
Yeah.
And the same thing for this.
Yeah.
Them dropping Nagi, well, I'll start back. Them dropping Heavy was, hey, we're going to start focusing on defense. Because Heavy was the first dual character we had, or first supporter we had that had dual support for offense and defense. So that was saying, hey, the meta's coming for defense, and then Nagi was the meta's coming for for defense and for color typing. And then now we know it because we can see every time you look up, they're now dropping supporters specific, even free to play supporters specifically for types. So
Yeah, once attack, are you alive over there, or are you just like taking it all in? He's really quiet. I just want to make sure he's all right.
No, no, it's just I was just listening because this is ultras because I don't know what he was gonna say, so
All right, no, I just want to make
I
sure you're good. Like, but you know you can cut in. We always talk over each other here. This is
yeah.
he who speaks the loudest gets to speak.
No, but I do agree what Ultra says because the thing is, Dokkan does the same thing with Legends. Like they take things from each other, so I wouldn't be surprised if RPGX and Action Taimanin are doing the same thing. They're taking ideas from each other and making the games better. That's like what I think. Like the truth says about from each of the games, basically.
they have to.
Yeah, because it benefits both the games. Basically, that's the thing, and I am generally if this color tower or whatever this whatever the hell this is going to be for the color contact. I do hope that like the contact is good. Like it's going to be good for old players, but as well for free to play players, for brand new players too. So like the fact that he said like, oh, we can get a supporter that is exclusive to that color, and then you can get like a copy, or hell, they could do like every 10 floors you complete, you get a copy of it, and there's 50 floors of them, like original tower, and you can it's literally a free to play supporter, but you just need to literally get just to get to the last floor, which
Yeah,
I kind of do like that idea.
Cause think about like Super Battle Road tech. You know how Super Battle Road basically you have like Hybrid Saiyan Super Battle Road. Well, you can only go in with Hybrid Saiyans. Now the rewards, of course, are like basically their version of like gems for the game, and you eventually get this character that you unlock, and you get to awaken and stuff like that when you beat all the stages. And so we don't have that restriction in AT, where in AT we can get any character we want. So or maybe it's something where you get a free character. So maybe you finish a tower and you get I didn't think about that, but maybe you finish a tower, Blue Tower with Kirei, and you get whatever character. Yeah, I'm keep calling it Kirei because I love that.
yeah,
You
I like
finish with
that name too.
Kirei,
It's a cute name.
and you get 2 or 3 supporters along the way, and then you get a freaking ticket to get a blue character. And if you already have a blue character, then maybe you change that for gems, and they give you 1,200 gems.
Another thing they could do is
Yeah.
they could just add new characters that way too, because I know a lot of people, like someone actually yesterday had a question of. And it was a weird question because they've never done it. I don't know why he asked it, and the person who replied to him kind of answered him like it was a stupid question, but I don't think it was. But imagine they add new characters that way. So maybe like Sora and Sakuya, right? Because if we're just like looking at them and kind of being, looking at how thematically they look, how they look thematically, you could say, okay, Sora may be red and Sakuya may be blue, right? So imagine you get to like the 50th floor and beat that tower, and they just give you Sora. And she's not someone you have to buy or use gems for or buy her bundles. You get her there. That could
and
be
they
a
can
cool
really
way.
expand the game that way.
Yeah.
The only reason I would say that's probably not likely for a while, and I think the game would have to get much bigger as far as monetarily bigger to that, because it takes so much to do these characters. That's why we only get once every couple of months. So that'd be kind of cool. Was to me like a supporter, it's probably way easier for them to make and dropping that, and even and giving you a ticket for the existing characters, kind of like they do the chat tickets. How the chat tickets don't change. So like even if you held that ticket for 6 months and then 2 new blue characters came out, it doesn't matter. You can't get anybody that wasn't on the ticket. And if you have everybody like me, then you just basically spend. Then you get the equivalent in gems. You don't get shafted and get, okay, here's 150 gems. They give you 1,200 gems for that character. And if you're a free to play and you go, well, I don't want a blue character, I want the gems so I can summon. Well, if they have more content later and you need 3 blue girls and you don't have 3 blue girls, then that's on you. Or maybe a locket where you have to use it for a blue girl. So maybe because like Dokkan, there's a couple games that do that where if you don't have the character, you can't choose to change it for anything else other than the character. So maybe it forces you to pick one. So if you don't have, all the blue characters, you only have one, then it makes you use it on one of them, and the option is grayed out for converted to gems. That way, they can ensure that every free to play character or player gets to have a good roster of waifus of different colors. So maybe in 2023, when they drop a tower that is as hard as tower, and it's you could take a team of three, then everybody's got at least 9 characters. Three of each color.
Yeah, they're prepared. Because I mean, I see it like when you point it out, it's obvious because you're right. We have gotten the characters. We are getting the tools, whether it be from events or gacha, with color restricted supporters that are gonna like beef up that color. Because like yeah, there have been the gacha girls, but then we also have stuff like Nana that exists now, who like is 100% free to play and she directly buffs blue. So I can definitely see it going that way. It makes sense when you like actually point it out and spell out the breadcrumbs they've placed. But okay, so back to the subject of rewards. That's really what I want to get into. So we've talked about like awakening crystals and potential supporters being in the pool, which I do like those ideas. But we got to talk about the elephant in the room. People still complain, and it's a warranted complaint. So don't take it, people who say this, as I'm saying you're whining. No, it's a warranted complaint. We have shitty ass gym income in this game. Like the free to play gym income is abysmal. So do you think they could use that as a potential gem generator? Because at this point, we need a repeatable activity that gives us more gems. Because the amount of gems we're getting per month with how aggressively they've gotten, with like just like the gachas in general, because we're getting way more banners than we've ever gotten, like new banner wise.
Christmas was crazy.
Yeah,
Christmas
it was
crazy,
dude.
man.
It was crazy. And then we followed right by
Crazy.
New Year's, and New Year's is a bit crazy too. The only thing that
Yeah.
made it manageable was that the Nui was free. That's the only thing. So
Yeah.
at least if you
Yeah.
didn't want to pay for Nui, you didn't have to. Like, because like by
Yeah.
pay I mean the desire one, because that still
Yeah.
takes away a paid resource or a charged resource from topping up and spending. But I want to talk about, what could they do to give us more potential gem income? Because I've always thought like they could just add a multiplayer activity, or maybe it could be via these colored towers. And the other thing I want to talk about is another elephant in the room, since we're kind of talking about them adding a different species of tower. Where are we going to be able to get more demonites and, nano machines for free to play? Because, whales are buying them once per month in the bundles. Because let's face it, I don't let that bundle go by. I don't think you do either. So, how do you think they could start distributing those to free to plays outside of, the every 6-month big event we seem to get?
Well, I think the color tower could be a good place to put one of those. So maybe like you put since we only have 3 colors, in this game, so it makes it real easy to divvy up the resources. So they can put maybe one of each, even the SR nano machines in there, because I know like a lot of free to players talking about that for Mercy. They finally got enough mileage to get Mercy, but you only 1 for 5. And honestly, not that you need her at 5 for 5, but honestly, I can tell you at 5 for 5, she procs to me 60% of the time, not 40% of the time, like she says. Whereas when she was 1 for 5, she procced like almost never.
Dude, yeah, that's the situation
yeah.
I'm in. I'm actually farming with her right now. She never procs for me.
Yeah, it's like she never procs. So I think it's one of the things where if you're going to go that route, then I think what they could do is they could put it in these color towers. So you do 3. So maybe you every month you do 1. And so that gives free to plays, a nano an SR, a nano Nemonite every month. So maybe every 3rd month is blue and then red and then green. And so over the course of a year, you get 4. And I think that's fair. So and that's 4 on top. And if you're paying, then of course you get 12 per month plus the actual 12 per year. So I think that would be a good way to go. And same thing for the gyms. Like I'm playing Legends right now. I'm doing their raid, and I don't know how hard it'll be for them to do PvP, or not with PvP, but co-op. But I think if they did something where like maybe you go into a stage and you fight a boss, even if it's solo, and you collect points every time you clear. So maybe like BS4, you go in there and you go into BS4, and every time you clear the stage, depending on what character you take in, what equipment you have on it, they rate your character, and then your character gets a certain amount of points based on the rating. So like right now I'm doing this Frieza raid, and I'm using one of the special characters, which is a new Bardock character that just dropped. Well, I get more points automatically because I'm using Bardock, but a lot of people didn't pull for him and didn't get him. So I get 120, 130 points a run of this stage when everybody else is only getting like 70. So
Uh,
after as you collect points, then you hit these thresholds, and the thresholds give you rewards, and a lot of it's crystals, which is their equivalent of gems. And so I think they can do something like that and it's really simple to do. Just make a BS4, and then you run through, and you get to 100 points, and then you get maybe 25 gems, and then you get 300 points, and you get like an SR Nano machine, but make it where maybe like it takes you like maybe it's 100 runs to get to the whole thing. Legends has this thing on count for the tower when they drop these new characters or like revamps of a character, and it's 100 floors. So, and Bleach Brave Soul does the same thing. Just make it 100 floors, and every 10 floors you get a reward. And then when you finish it all, maybe you have enough to buy an actual character. So maybe that's 1,200 gems, and then that's a nano machine, a UR nano machine, an SR nano machine, and then a demonite. And then the pinnacle prize is that one copy of that the supporter, or maybe the supporters along the way, or maybe it's a Chad ticket for a blue character or red or green, whatever color the tower is. And then that would give everybody the ability to not only get a free character, but buy a character for next month, because next month's tower shows up and it's red, and I'm not a big red person. So now I need to go buy a red character. So, and also help with the summoning too, because I know a lot of times with free to play, they sit on stuff too long and they miss things that they really should get, because the gem income in this game is really just like lackadaisical. And then like I said, the last couple months has been like, it's been overload. Like when I saw all the supporters coming for Christmas, I was like, okay, well maybe they're gonna hit us really hard now, and then New Year's would be okay. And then they were like, nah, we're gonna hit y'all with some ridiculous supporters for them too. But like I said, the Nui being free to play was actually really, really a big plus. And honestly, that was hands down this set the best gift they've ever given to the community. It's not even close.
oh yeah, that reminds me of back in the day at like Valkyrie Crusade. Like certain effects were really OP in that game, and I remember one Christmas, the free to play character was just that effect. Everyone had access to it, and it was like that's what this new E feels like. It just feels like such an olive branch to the community. And it was needed too, because Christmas was rough. It really was. Like my wallet burned on Christmas, especially with the level up packs. Like, oof.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, and they could have really been shafty and say, you know what, we're going to make this supporter only for blue, or only for green, or only for red. But they made that supporter that busted, and they left it open to any character. I mean, so, and it wasn't even wanted to Nui, because I immediately thought it was going to be like, oh, they're about to inject and make it a Nui specific supporter, or make it where it's just protect type. But they didn't. And so even if you don't like Nui, like, hey, I hate her, I don't like her gameplay, I think she sucks. You got her weapon anyway, you break it down and freaking sell it, and use it for enchanting, that's great. But her support, you can throw on anybody, man. And everybody got a good red kit.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
even,
sure.
Yeah, even Tokiko, and her red kit is not the greatest, but hell, I did wooden stage, the wooden challenge with her in red. So I mean, and that's her worst color, not even close. So, so I think that right there, we're just showing that the community that they're really looking out for free to plays. But you also have to understand that this is a business, and businesses don't make money if you don't spend money.
Well, I think they've really, like, as far as business practices, while the level up pack, because I have had lighter spenders tell me they don't appreciate it, and I get it, like, buy buttons getting thrown in your face when you don't intend to buy is a little corny, but that pack is probably the best thing to happen for this game, because this game, like, I used to watch their Sensor Tower religiously. Now I don't so much, but they weren't making, the money they were making was a joke. Like, they were, like, pushing, like, a couple $100K a month, if that. Whereas, like, other gachas are, like, easily, hitting $1 million plus, $5 million. Like, FGO makes astronomical money. And I get that Taimanin isn't that, so I don't expect Taimanin to, be making as much money as that. But with packs like the level pack, that just gives them a money generator. And I know people hate to hear it, but the game needs money to live and get better. That's just a fact. There's no way you're going to get out of that. So the fact that they have a good way to make money with the level packs and people are willing to spend into them, we'll start to see the game get better for everyone. Because that's the thing, the game is going to chokehold you until it's proven to be profitable to the higher ups. Because the devs don't control anything. It's some president or CEO, and he's like, if he's not getting his bottom line, we're not going to get free shit in the game. We're not going to get a lot of content in the game. The fact that all this new content and different variations of effects and like things like that have been being added is just because they're making more money. And with the level packs, like I'm sure we're going to see a lot of changes this year. Because they're going to be making the revenue to do those changes.
Because the thing about how stale the game was until Tower, I mean, I complained about this game a lot after like month 3 because it was like it's good enough to be a main, but it could only be a side game because you ran out of AP so quick, and there was really nothing to do other than dailies. Like say like your story mode's like okay great, the story mode's over and done with, and once it's done it's over. That's like any game though. You know, there was no repeatable content. There was no content I can go through and test anything on. It just was like, okay, where is this going? And then they dropped Tower, I think, and of course that, you know, where they dropped, you know, Arena and then Tower, and then of course it became a thing where now the game is starting to see to develop, but that's all from income. It doesn't come from nothing. I mean, they can't pay developers to make content when they don't have money to pay developers to make content, you know? Exactly. And so you can see how like this game is really starting to like take off. Like the trajectory has been really, really great the last 4 months. It's because they're just making more money than they ever have. And I can tell you, I'm sure the level up packs are like, I'd imagine they probably like, if they look back, I'm sure 6 months of level up packs prior to the 6 months prior to that, I'm sure it's probably 5, 6, 7 times more they're making.
Gotta be,
because
it's just
because the thing is like it's like an $80 for 1,450 gems, or $41 for 2,500 gems and awakening crystals and dye. It's like and AP potions and AP potions forever. Like literally, I mean, like right now, I'm not even playing the game because I'm sitting down and talking to you guys. But I normally have it running in the background. But I've got like 9,000 AP loaded up on my phone, and it just sits there. Like all the time, I load up like 32 or 30. It's like almost 33 pots a day, and just load it up. And I don't even care if I don't use it all in a day. Like I did it yesterday, and I didn't get through all because I was trying to farm gold, and I didn't get through all of it. And I was like, well, who cares? Because I normally don't even get 300 AP restored in a day. But because I have 3,500 AP pots, I mean, like,
yeah,
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, like I've gotten to that point too. I know you said you got to the point too that you don't even care if it's the half off day for gold anymore, right? You'll just farm it anyway.
No, I farm gold anytime I want. Yeah, it's like if I'm gonna go gacha fishing, like I was doing before, but I was kind of doing that before, but I was also retarded before the level up packs. you know. I mean, the pots I spent on that freaking campaign. I mean, it shows you I'm completely retarded, but. I mean, but the thing is, it's like why it doesn't even matter. 120. I mean, because there's so much AP, I'm never gonna burn through it, you know. And they still give us pots here and there, so it's not like we're going without them completely, and it's just over because as soon as the next character drop, that's another I don't know what 500 pots or 600 pots, whatever you get every single one through. And like I say, I'm one of the few people that had every girl at least at 75. So I'm not like some of you guys who have 4 or 5 characters you haven't picked up yet, who can get level up packs from 10 all the way up. I don't have that luxury, or 30 all the way up. I don't have that luxury. But still, I don't feel like I was shafted because I mean, I have so many now. It doesn't even matter. I'm never gonna burn through 3,500 pots. That's just not possible. You know?
Yeah. Like literally, I think I just got to 3,600 loading up for this video, and I play every day at work. Like. You know, same thing as you, like 9 hours a day I'm playing AT, and I'm like, these pots are just, they're infinite, and the next character I get is just going to be another 1,000 of them. Because, you know, I mean, yeah, I'm someone who will buy every pack, but that's the point we're trying to make is even if you, like, what were you saying before we got on the call, Ultra? Like, even if you just buy the 77 and, like, 79 pack only, you don't even need to buy the others, you're still getting, what, 400 pots? It's crazy.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, that's all you need. So you get 77 and 99, 2 best packs they have. Period. The rest of them are good. Don't grab me. They're great value. But those 2 essentially will set you because if you want to go there and die. Like I started dying characters I don't even care about. Because it's like, what else am I gonna do? Because Nui's is perfect, Noah's is perfect, Tokiko's is perfect. I mean, until they make more costumes available. But even still, I mean, like I went through like I was trying to make this color for Kurenai the other day, and it took me like 500 dives to do it. Didn't even care because of like even I mean, because I've got like 3,000. What am I gonna do with all that? So I think if you go to that kind of format for the game, it doesn't really matter. I think you're going to be okay. I think the issue mainly is going to be um, if you're going to spend there, but that's going to require you to understand that this game is going to have to put that buy button in your face because they're trying to get everybody to at some point spend like that. What is it like $2 for the 40 gems you get per month or whatever it is, a little small pack, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, it's like they've got to do something that tempts you a little bit, and then hopefully that'll either keep that little bit of income coming or to get you to be a bigger spender. That's just what it is. Every game's like that. There's not a single gotcha game that goes, hey, we never ever ever want you to pull out your wallet. There's not
Yeah.
one.
And the
Yeah,
ones that
just-
were like that died.
Are gone.
Yeah.
You know,
Sorry,
like
Tack. what were
Hunter
you
x
gonna
Hunter.
say?
You know, stuff like that. Yeah.
I heard Tack. What were you gonna say, Tack?
Yeah, because the thing is, here's the thing. It's like it's the same thing with like it's not just like gotcha games, but you think of it like think of Fortnite and Apex. Like those games are like they're free to play, but there's a reason they're free to play. It's because they want you to spend money. Why do you think that like they're making so many skins and battle passes and such? It's because it's free to play. Yes, it's free to play because it's the same thing with League too. It's like, oh, you can play this game as much as you want, but they want you to spend money for like skins or characters or like that's the whole premise for free to play. It's just that that's the thing that they want you to do. It's a reason why free to play games are so much more popular than just buying like a $60 AAA game now these days.
Yeah, because it's the free entry fee too. Because like a lot of people these days don't want to spend $60 on a game. But if that's your gaming choice, if you don't want to go spend $60 on a new Call of Duty, then you want to download Action Taimanin or Honkai or Genshin, and you're going to be playing the game. Realize that the game is going to cost you more than $60 in the long run if you don't want to be like dog shit at it. And if you do want to be free to play, you're going to be dog shit for a very, very, very long time until you build your account up. Because it's doable free to play. Every game is doable, but they make it, so you can't just, you're not going to go in there and just rake the world free to play, right? You're going to be in there like, oh, this is arduous, this is shit. And then maybe after like 4 years, you have an account that you can be like, okay, this account's really good now. But you're not going to be doing that in like 2 weeks. You're not going to have a great account in a couple weeks as a free to play.
No.
It's just not possible. That's because the
No.
games
No,
make
like
it
when-
impossible, so to tempt you into
Yeah.
paying.
Exactly, that's the whole point, you know. But
Yeah.
like I say, and that's a whole other topic. But I guess
Yeah.
the main thing is just like that where the meta essentially is they're telegraphing it, and so I kind of made some notes here. Like so, like for instance, I'll start off with like Prologue Card 5. So remember how Prologue Card 5 was like? I remember you made a video about it talking about like if you can't do 5, don't worry about it. You only have to get through 3 so you can unlock Arena. And now we look at Prologue Card 5 like I can't believe I struggle with this. You know,
Same. Yeah, I
and so-
remember.
yeah, it was crazy. I'd say, but Prologue Card 5, and then then also they started dropping green supporters. And all these green supporters were, I mean, Kairu was out the box. We just didn't know how great she was until the meta really got changed. But Kairu out the box, if you didn't pick Kairu, you kind of messed up, because everybody picked Major, like me. No, actually, I didn't pick Major. I didn't pick Major because I picked Kairu because I thought she was hot. So
Yeah, she's
I
really,
didn't know how to play
really
the game, so I just picked. So it was easy enough. And so and then also they dropped the green supporters, and then you had then also they started to change the meta, and the way they changed the meta was by dropping speak, and they're like, well, why would they drop an invulnerability supporter? This game really isn't that hard. Now Prologue Card 5 is nothing because every minute I get to be invulnerable, and the damage back then it didn't take a lot of damage to beat that. You just needed to live long enough.
Exactly.
And then same thing, and then PvP opened up, and of course PvP went from Major to Speaker, and essentially is either you had Speaker or you lost. That was pretty much it, because there wasn't a lot of defensive builds, things like that, like there are now, and then we look at how enchanting happened. Enchanting showed up, and we're like, oh, this is great. You can take your characters and make them stronger. Like, why? Like, there's nothing in the game that I need this for, and it was a while before we realized it, and then all of a sudden they dropped Tower, and then it's like, okay, so I need enchanting because this new Tower.
The first tower came before enchanting.
No, I'm talking about the second,
Okay, yeah, you're
the
talking about the
updated
second
tower.
one.
The updated
Okay,
tower.
okay, sorry,
Yeah, because
yeah.
first tower came was in that invincibility green meta, and so like we were talking about, I remember talking in the chat a lot about like, oh, I've got speaker, so it's not that hard. 'Cause even I used speaker back then. 'Cause I mean, like everybody else, you live by invulnerability because one, it was new. Two, it made playing so easy because you literally just walk up and bash people in the face, and you ran out until your invulnerability came back. You
Yeah,
know, and so they little by little kind of go, hey, this is where we're going. This is where we're going. I said, and this color thing is one of those things where it's like it's pretty obvious because they wouldn't have dropped that stuff specifically. Like, say, but what you did, like if like I say, when Nagi dropped, okay, great, this is for suppress. Well, I never have to summon for Nagi. And then when Shizuru dropped, I never have to summon for Shizuru. I don't even need that because I run Nui and I run Tokiko and I run Noah. So why do I even need those? Great, keep on moving. And what's going to happen? Maybe 2 months down the road, they're going to go, oh, by the way, we have a tower specifically for this. And it might not be something where it's tied to this, tied to those supporters. But I think part of the other thing, too, is not only is the color part coming in, but more of a defensive build because we have never had characters that are just strictly defense. And now the fact that they're adding really good offensive buffs to defensive buffs like Nagi and Shizuru and the Nui supporter, and same thing with the new Yuki Blue supporter. I think it's because we're getting ready to get content that we can just plow through with, a 2 million, 8 million damage because you won't live long enough because the boss is either going to reduce defense or they're going to do crazy stuff like they were invert your controls or something along the lines where it's just not going to be very simple to do. And I'm sure they'll do something to make Emily less of a threat, but with Hisui. But I just think that's it's like same thing like kind of like I was referencing Dokkan, like me and Tag, like we had this meta where we just every character was like strong. They just put up like huge numbers, like 3-4 million damage attacks, and then they started dropping content where like you would go in and you'd be dead a third of the way through the content because you couldn't survive a hit. Or you get to the
damn.
boss and the boss one shot your entire team. And it's like, well, how do you fix that? Well, they started developing characters after that or along that time that stacked defense, but we didn't care about that because all we cared about was big damage. And so they changed the meta without us even realizing that the meta was changing because we weren't looking for it. And so, like, for this game, since I've played it since its inception, I'm a week out from when it dropped. I'm able to see, oh, you guys are really following the regular gacha method. It's like, and the thing is, like I say, this game is a little different because you are guaranteed every character. So it's about the supporters and the weapons that allow them to get you to spend. So for me, it was like, okay, well, where are they going with this and why does it even matter? And I think this whole color portion of it, along with the defense thing, is like, we're going to get maybe the next few floors of tower, maybe that's going to be a color portion of it. So maybe you have floors 76 through 80 that are blue, and 81 through 85 that are green. And maybe they just rotate up, and then when you take those in, and maybe those bosses are just like, maybe they got 10,000 life bars, and they nullify or they nullify healing. So you can't take in a character like Emily that just sits in healing field, or so sustain gets almost eliminated, or maybe they reduce sustain, and maybe invulnerability, you can't even take the supporters in there. They don't even allow you to even have them on your team, or don't even use the active.
Oh,
Because
you
Dokkan
think
does
it's
that.
gonna be? You think it's gonna get like that, where they're gonna start restricting
Oh
actual
yeah,
gear? Damn.
yeah. Because like in Dokkan, Attack will tell you we have a couple stages where this character named Devil Man people would use, and he's really really old, one of the first characters in the game. And he's an SR, so like he's basically like a nothing. If he was a weapon, he'd be like an N weapon. But he has like a 1 in 1,000 chance. No, he has a 1% chance of doing 99 million damage. So what people would do is they would just go into the stage and run it 1,000 times until he triggered, and then you'd one shot the stage. But what they did on the newer content, when they realized they were doing that, they took that out. So they restrict him from going in, and then they had characters that would nuke. And so what happened is I could go into the stage, have this leader on my team, and if I collect a certain number of orbs, he would make my hardest hitters do like a bazillion damage. Then they said, okay, well that's great. When they redid those stages, you can't even bring those into the game, into the stage. So like I can see them saying Yuna speak as Shisui, you're done, and taking those completely out, and maybe if you heal less or you don't heal at all. So you can take those skills in, but those skills don't do much, you know, because that's how they basically make the content harder. Because the thing is, they've got to do something to make it more challenging, because that's how they can give you these really good rewards that you have to really work for, and maybe it's for free to play. That's I don't want to wait 6 months to get that particular thing. Okay, well, I'm going to spend the money on this next gotcha and get blah, 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 so I can get my character this thing, and there you go. Because they make it where it's feasible for you, but you can't get it now. And then all your friends or all the YouTubers you watch have it now. And you're like, man, I sure wish I had that. And then you go out and, you pop your cherry,
Oh my
you know?
god, the classic Fortnite pack mentality. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you have that skin, so I should get that skin because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm a loser if I don't have that skin. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's the truth though. It really does make people want to get shit. Like it's
Yeah,
like, oh
Oh, yeah.
man.
yeah. I can say that as much as how I used Shizuru. Yeah, when I used Shizuru when she came out, and I tell like people probably bought her pack when she was not free to play available, and because like they saw like damn he's like she actually hits pretty freaking hard, and they bought her, and then most people that bought her, they don't regret her. They're just having a
Mm-mm.
good time with her.
That's the good thing about her. And that's another thing, because I mean, screw it. Felicia's coming. And I really hope, because after Tokiko, like, and this is a little off subject, but I mean, I think we've discussed it, like, enough. But I want to go into, like, characters and being happy with them. Because, like, if we're going to go into a color meta, I think that coincides. Like, the characters that come out have to fucking work. It just, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Tokiko works now because she received a horizontal buff via supporters.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
she was a
by
terrible
supporter
character
and
release.
skin.
Now,
Yeah,
if you
she
look
was.
at Chizuru's not OP, which is good. She's just good. And I want every character, like especially Felicia, because she's coming next, they have to be indicative of what Chizuru was like. They don't have to be OP. They don't have to be like the second coming of Christ. Unless they are, that's even better. But with the characters we get, if we're going to potentially go into a meta like this, the newer characters have to not be slouches. They can't be coming out with weird ass supports like the Asuka support. They can't be coming out with like shitty ass kits like Tokyo. Like they just fucking can't come out sucking. That's all it is. It's the truth. Because like
Yeah. And
people are gonna need like, what if someone goes, oh, I don't have a green melee because I skipped Tokiko, and they don't want to use Emily, and they're like, oh, well, I don't like Emily, and I feel like I don't have Renko's limited gear, so they're gonna be looking to Felicia, especially if people like watch these videos and take shit to heart. Because some people will watch my videos and I know they plan around like some of the stuff we say. So if people take it to heart and go, I have to prep for the color meta, knowing Felicia's green, they're going to probably be looking to her now as a potential
Mm-hmm.
character to use as their green character. And she just can't come out trashy, like, or it'll ruin it.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, and not to mention, Mario, like we're just talking about the color meta. Imagine when we get to the game, like if the game survives like 3 or 4 years, they're gonna put the color restriction and the typing restriction of the character. Then it becomes even much more.
yeah, and that's actually another question I wanted to throw to you guys because you both play Dokkan. Do you think that will happen? Because Ultra, you said earlier they have like Android team, Half Saiyan team, Super Saiyan team. Like that's not their color, that's their species at that point. Do you think they're
Yeah.
gonna start restricting like by machine, demon, or human too?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's going to be, because that's going to be a later meta change. Because, like you mentioned the other day, you and I talked, there's not enough machines. So, like, you only have Asuka and you have Emily.
Emmy,
And
yeah.
so you got one red and one green. So you don't have a blue yet. So it may be, that might be like meta down the road. Maybe that's probably like a 15-month, 24-month plan, something like that. But that's going to happen too, because they do have, I mean, because we already have supporters that boost that, but like for instance, like Coco Elf. But the thing with Coco Elf is like, I didn't see that as like a meta piece. I just thought that was like, hey, this is a really good free to play piece because there's a lot of demons in the game. I mean, it's a lot of demons in the game, and you can use her with any demon. So it's not like it has to be red demon. You could use it on Ki Ray Ray, But there's and so they drop a lot of the supporters around the characters that's coming out. So it was just kind of, it's just what it was. But I don't think I think the species type it's probably like that's probably like an 18 to 24-month plan. But I think the defensive and the color restriction meta is probably within the next 90 days. I think we're
Yeah,
gonna
I do
go
too.
because towers should be out, and the next full tower should be out in May because that's when we got. Did we get in May or June last year?
It was May. It was
So
like I think
yeah, it was
May
May.
between
Yeah,
May like the beginning of May and May 25th, right? Like I remember the
yeah.
exact dates
I
because it
think
was
I think
before
we should.
Kirara came out.
Yeah, it was before the Maifu Mars exactly. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna probably get. I think we're gonna get the color and defensive meta very very soon because the thing is like awakening is such a big thing and I say and you know and I know it's one of those things where it's kind of like I don't have to worry about it until it gets here. That's fine, but the thing is when it gets here then it's kind of like okay what do I do now because I've redone my awakening twice already and he has 400 gems to do that because it's to play around with it to see and I can tell you those awakening points are the single most valuable thing in the entire like literally the thing in the entire game, without a doubt.
Oh wow, you're cutting out for some reason. It's something
Oh,
different.
hold on a second. I got a call. Hold on a second.
Hey, you're
Let
good.
me jump out of that.
But basically, what he was saying is that the awakening points are the most valuable thing in the entire game, and I agree because I've also altered my tree multiple times, just messing with stuff, and like they don't seem like it at first, and I know like free to plays don't have the awakening we have, but when you get to the point where if you even have 6 characters at level 81, those awakening points are so backloaded. Like they start out minuscule, but if you stack into things, they're so backloaded, your characters are just gonna become a juggernaut. Like that's the reason my Kirara hits so hard. That's the reason Ultra is so tanky. Those awakening points are they're the fucking long game. Like if you ever wanted to know what the long game was and what your most valuable thing is, it is those. Like I think they even outweigh like your gear. They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
it's just like
Am I clear now?
yeah, you're clear now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I say yeah. You're right. Because and for me, my wooden run that I sent you was proof of that. Like literally, I could have gone in there with a defensive build and took more damage than a non-defensive build with honestly trash supporters. You know, because I had no defense in my build, you know, at all. But it's because I was taking out that little bit of damage because of the awakening skills. 60% reduction for every type is pretty insane. So if there's a boss that's going to come out and do 1,000,000 damage, you know you're taking 60% less than that. And what if you got to do this for 10 minutes because this boss is so freaking robust? They don't have a measly 4,000 bars, and you can't line them up. You know, and like Wolf and line up in a corner and just shoot them across the board because they're not going to play that. They're going to teleport, and maybe Sakura teleporting is doing 20,000 a hit. Or maybe like for like my Nui, I can't Shinin Shishoku them like because they basically I can't break their armor with it, and so they still come at me, and it doesn't pin them down like it does with a mob. I just think that every game has to progress in their difficulty, and the progression and difficulty is not just so the content is better because that is a big thing with the game because if your content's not good, nobody's going to play your game. But it's also like how can I get people to spend more money? How can I get you to spend money on this game? If I log, because I can promise you, if AT was exactly like it was a year ago, I would never, I probably wouldn't even play the game still.
Yeah, that
But
last
they made
year,
it.
like I remember you called it your side chick all the time. And
Yeah,
like
yeah,
and
that's
then
all
not
it
even a
was.
year ago, like 6-7 months ago, like the summer was the worst time for this game.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
I have loved the game since day one. It's probably one of my favorite games. But the summer, I genuinely just didn't want to play this anymore. It was so
yeah,
dry.
it was bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I logged in every day. I still have my login streak. I'm probably one of the few people that is
I
dumb
do
enough to do
not.
that.
Mine is
But I
gone.
have my login streak every day. And so I logged in every day. Even I would log in, do my little dailies, and then log out. I barely even play the game. It was just like okay, whatever. And then they made it where it's playable. And now it's like I enjoy this game more than I have anything else because not because of me welling on it because the game is good. There's a lot of content. There's stuff to do. all the time. There's stuff to grind for. Like the affinity boxes thing was such a bore and such a chore. But you know what? It was something to do, the benefit was me being able to do something that nobody else could do as soon as I could do it. Or if you wanted to, you could, because I mean, JP players. We talked about this before when we had the merger. How these JP players had like 25 million gold. We're like, oh my god, they've got 25 million gold. I've barely got 600,000. I've got right now, as of this video, I have 257 million gold. Like, what am I going to do with that? And that's not even counting the gold is in my box. So it's like as you start to play this game, it becomes easier just by playing it, and you get to do things on the game just by playing it. So it is definitely fun now. But the content is not just for content's sake. They're not just making stuff to make. It's like TV shows. People don't just make episode after episode after episode just because they like to make the episodes. They want to make money. They want to get commercials. They want people to pay to watch the show. They want you to stream the service. They want you to tell your friends about it. They want to get views. They want to be popular. They want to make money. They want to pay these actors. And you can't pay actors don't do shows for free, and developers can't do stuff for free either. So we've got to understand that there is some pay aspect for it, but the content coming, I think, is going to help everybody to just spend more time in the game, and the more you spend time in the game, the more you can enjoy it. Even if you want to stay strictly free to play, you can. But like you said before, you just won't get those rewards today or tomorrow or next week. Like people like Ark. What Ark would do the event the day it dropped, like within 5 hours you've done or something like that.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. I mean, he was like literally. He was like, okay, here's all the rewards. We're all done. Let's go about my business. Well, Wells can do that, and on some of the like in Tower. I mean, I could have literally finished Tower the day it dropped. I literally did not touch Tower for like 2 weeks because I was just fishing Affinity Box while everybody else was talking about Tower. And then when I got done with that, and I was like, and then what happens? We got enough time, so it was 14 days to get all the girls done, or 12 days I think it was, to get all the girls done. And then when a new event came, I was done with the event in just a few runs because I'm getting 60% drop increase. So it's like for me, like, and not saying I'm some kind of sage or something like that, but I kind of see how the meta goes, and the bridge stuff was a forecasting for how you can play this game more efficiently in the future. So like once you get to 3 girls that have 20% drop rate, you're not burning AP. So if you're free to play, it's in your advantage to get 3 drop girls. And if you only want to fish for the supporter and the events boxes, that's all you got to do, and move on with your life. But like me, I empty every box. Yeah, I always have, even before this.
I'm now like I finally have 12 girls done, and I can say that the whatchamacallit, the drop rate buff it's crazy. Like it's night and day when you run events with that buff up.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
So much faster. So I mean, we talked your ear off. I appreciate it. And Emily, I'm almost out of AP. That's kind of what I was using to gauge time for the video, because I knew it would be a long video. So I loaded 2700 AP. I'm at 160 right now. So
nice.
There's so much more you could talk about as far as predictions, but the video's already gone long, so I'm gonna start closing it out now. But what I want to say is, what do you think about? Because we've kind of made our own meta. You kind of made the rules for it. I just mentioned it offhandedly. What do you think about them acknowledging the wood meta and making content around that, or making a map where you have to use those weapons? Does that appeal to you? Like if it becomes a real thing?
So I've played, and this is actually in Dokkan too. Taimanin never remember it, but when they dropped this Vegito Blue character, he was just like godly free to play unit. Literally one of the best units in the game, if not the best unit in the game, and he was completely free. But you had to go through and redo the story mode. But when you did the story mode, every stage had a restriction, and the restriction limited the ability that you can bring. So I couldn't go in with my well team and just blast through it. I had to basically take in characters who were undervalued, who were basically under geared. So like in our game, it's like in Dokkan, it's like your characters are URs, SRs, and Ns, and so you can take any characters whose scores over a certain amount. So you have to basically go to the bottom of the barrel and get like some characters you never even play with for like trash and try to beat this stage. And the stages were way harder when you didn't have your best characters. And so that's kind of how what inspired me to do this whole to take your wood meta challenge and kind of go, okay, let's just make it really, really tough. So I can see them doing something like that. So maybe there's a special reward you get, or maybe like they make, say for instance, Felicia drops and she drops and go, oh, she's going to be free to play, no gems required. But you're going to have to go back and replay story mode missions. I don't know, 10 through 16, and every time you go in, you can only use. You're restricted to this type of like SR or N weapons or something like that. I mean, that to me that would be fun because I mean I really enjoyed like Tag said, beating my head against the wall, using wooden weapons. So I tell you that Nui, because I mean like me when I load Nui up, shit's gonna die. I know that. That's just all I don't think about her. I don't like you say with Kirei. You don't ignore the meta. You don't care what the boss does. I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna kill you, and I'll go about my day. That's all it is. And when I dropped her in, and I was dead within the first like 40 seconds of playing. I was like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Yeah.
That's why I'm scared to do it, because I went full damage on my Kirara, and I'll be going tanky later, because I do agree that the meta's gonna go that way. We're probably gonna need to go tankier, but for now she's a glass cannon. She hits super hard. So I'm like I said to you, I'm used to just going in there and like, oh, I hit the boss like 4 times with some basics and it died. So
Yeah.
I'm scared to try the wood weapon because I don't want to go in there and have to actually, try. Like it's like, damn, this is like, oof. Like
It's fun. And shout out to Fantasy because that dude is on a whole nother level of crazy. Like,
dude, I love the
one
Murasaki
move-
run. I genuinely enjoyed his Murasaki run. It was so funny.
Dude, Fantasy, he's a freaking goat right there. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm looking at him like, I know it's gonna be successful because of Mirasaki. Because let's be real, I mean that girl she is literally the definition of an OP character. Why do you give one character hyper armor and 3 heals, and immobilization and stun? Like, there's like literally nothing on her kit that is bad.
Yeah, she's nuts.
She's insane, and that which makes her tier rating by somebody else just really confusing. But yeah, that she's busted. So like, and for him to use her to show you how, and it was only on hard 5, but to show you that that's how good that character is. They have the ability to make characters that good across the board. They just need to. But as far as the content goes, making this limited restriction content, I would love to have something like that where they have a special stage and maybe the rewards aren't that great, or maybe the rewards are busted because it's so hard. You can only take wood weapons in there because gold is free, wood weapons are free, enchanting wood weapons is free, so you don't have to worry about it being not free to play friendly. I mean, it's just one of those things where I think that wouldn't be a bad idea at all. And actually, you don't need multiple copies of a wood weapon either. You just basically got to have the patience to get the one you want, or the one for your character. You go in there, spend almost no resources to get it to 30, and take it into a stage. I wouldn't even mind doing it with like an R. Like, you can only take R supporters. But see, the problem with supporters are gotcha for the most part. So maybe they restricted to only free to play stuff. And if they're going to keep repeating events, at some point, hopefully we're going to get everybody back again, and people who are jumping into the game will be able to get those supporters. But that made me think about something that Tack mentioned about how like new players can't get them. One solution they can do is what Dokkan does. Dokkan gives you these keys, and you get these keys and you can unlock old stages anytime you want. And so I can go back and play, like, say, Onigumo stage and get Onigumo if I've never cleared her before with this key. And if I run through it multiple times after that, I don't get the drops. But maybe they can do something like that where they can have a tab that's every event under events, that's every event ever that's been dropped in the game, and you get to unlock it with these keys. And then that way, or maybe just have it where it's there all the time, because I don't see the point in them taking it away. Because like I say, free to play just don't get access to the stuff. I think that's kind of jacked up. Because even though Oniguma is not busted, I think on the fact that this game is like 90% demon enemy, it'd be great to have her, and especially in a blue build. So
yeah, she would do really good in a blue build that's hungry for DPS. And I did kind of want to go into that a little bit, but I thought it'd get too long-winded. But if they do start with the color meta in general, they need to implement a way that And I mean, they are repeating events, but it needs to be on a mass scale at this point. Like, the game's been out in Japan a year before it made it to global, and global, like if you count Japan with global, the game's just over 2 years old now. So like, there's so many events. Like I talked about it like the other day. Like Cartagena, you can't get Home Alone if you miss Cartagena. You just can't do it. And I'm sorry, I don't think the exchange is a good enough way to go back and get stuff you missed. It's terrible.
That horrible idea.
Horrible.
And well, especially now, like say for instance, like they repeated and you got Mari, you got 5 copies of Mari. You go, well, let's go throw Mari into the exchange because I don't care because I don't really use her anyway, and I've got 5 copies, so I can see if I can get something. But the problem is now because of enchanting has changed the game because it's not only that, like mileage has become a very rare commodity because now you only get mileage off of summoning. Because before we would take all of our extra dupes and just freaking and trade them in and sell them and trade them in for mileage. Well, now you don't. I mean, because I was probably getting 4,000 to 5,000 a month in mileage pretty easily on months that I was going heavy. But now that's super rare. Other than Nagi, I literally did 24,000 mileage in 2 months.
Oh my god!
Between Nagi's, yeah, but because Nagi, where I bought. Nagi was she was like y'all talk about the luck I have. Nagi was setting me up for Grimory owed me this because I got only 1 from summoning, and that was after I went to pity 3 times on that banner.
Jesus.
And yeah, so I got 1 from pity, 1 from summoning, 2 from desire, and I used mileage for 1 of them. So I actually used actual mileage from 1 to get my 5th copy. That banner was crazy brutal. But because of enchanting, like I said, we ain't really getting into that, but enchanting really changed the meta in a lot of different aspects of the game. So they're able to get you to get. So Shisui is going to be even harder to get if you're free to play, because the thing is, the content is requiring you to enchant.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yes.
Enchanting requires you to dismantle your weapons and supporters. Well, I can't sell them for mileage to clear the content to get shit because I want Shisui. So you have to pick. And not that Shisui is busted, broken, and you have to use her. I hardly ever use when I first got her, I use her all the time because I'm like, hell. First of all, I love the way the supporter looks. It's just, Shisui, she looks freaking amazing. I said, plus, it was like, okay, nobody really has her, so it's kind of a flex. But now I don't use it much because my account is to the point where invulnerability doesn't matter for the characters I currently use. Now that's not saying that I won't need her for Felicia. Maybe Felicia's best build is green, and I'm going to run Kaoru, and Kinemon. So I don't really know, but I think that's kind of that the enchantment really kind of did a lot to the game, and people just didn't really realize that because. Because mileage, Shisui is going to be even more rare. Mercy's even more rare. So that's off pure pools now. Because I dismantle everything. I don't take anything and go, oh, let me get a few more mileage. I'm really close to getting another. Because I've gotten 2 of the cherry blossom weapons, 1 for Noah and 1 for Nui, and I'm about to get the 1 for Tokiko. And I was like, I could just break down these weapons and sell it for mileage because I'm only like a couple hundred away. I'm like, no, because that's enchantment fodder. And that's all you're thinking in this meta now. It's like enchantment fodder, enchantment fodder, enchantment fodder. So
that is true. Yeah, that's what everyone thinks.
Yeah, that is by far true.
All right, I think that's a good place to stop. I'm out of AP. I'm just staring at Kirara and her dope-ass wedding dress now.
Dude, you did such a great job with that, by the way. I love looking at that. Yeah, you did a great job with that.
I think if I end up maining Emily, completely off subject, I'm gonna use her rebellious because I already have a rebellious because I wailed for it. And I'm gonna dye her wedding dress to the rebellious too. And then I just have to hope Shizuru gets a wedding dress. But the problem is Shizuru, I don't have a rebellious, I have her Valkyrie. But yeah.
Oh, by the way, I got Valkyrie by the way too now.
It's so good, dude. That active is nutty. You don't like it? Or you didn't try it?
I think it's the problem is I enchanted the rebellious. Yeah. And I haven't enchanted the. So, but it's only 2 for 5. I didn't go hard for Shizuru, like I told you why before, but
yeah.
But I've been pulling her. I didn't pull her unique at all in her gacha, and like literally the tickets we got, the Euro tickets, I YOLO 2 of them. It was crazy. I'm like, what? Like, this is so weird. Like, I don't even care about it. Like that. So, and now that weapon 3 for 5 is insane.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
funny. You know how it went for me. I had the exact opposite luck. I ended up with that and no rebellious. I still don't have a rebellious even from any of the tickets. But that's
that
neither
is
here.
funny.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. I appreciate you taking the time to come on and let us pick your brain. I know you're very busy, so it's cool to, it's always cool to talk, like even if we're not in a video. Just, you're a cool dude. I
Yeah,
like hanging out with you. But
right. I enjoyed it as well. You and Tiger, good people, so love it.
so yeah, thank you, Tech, for coming on every day, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you take this video, and I know it was a very long one, but it needed to be. So I hope you take what you heard here and kind of rethink your account. Just, this, it could never come to pass, but honestly, the writing's on the walls, and I don't see why they wouldn't. And that's pretty much the logic here. Is like Ultra said, why are they restricting colors? It can't be for no reason. There's a reason. So you have to kind of connect the dots and say, hey, look, like, why are they doing this? What are they doing? And these are the predictions we have. So definitely, like, if you don't have a red girl you favor, or a green or a blue girl, start looking into other characters, because I mean, I'm guilty of it. I've exclusively played Kirara for close to like 8 months, and I finally like branched out and got Shizuru and got my red girl in order, and Emily's my green girl. I just have to get her in order now, and I think everyone should heed the advice, and definitely don't undervalue like being tanky in this game. Because I know it's cool to watch my Kirara hit crit for like 600k basics. It's all neat and fun, but honestly, bitch can't take a hit. And that's just the truth. So you should really probably pay more attention to like what Sui and what Ultra have been doing with their awakening, and adopt that into your playstyle. You don't have to not build any damage at all, but you can build damage, but just don't ignore your tanky side, because the game looks like the meta is going to start calling for some sort of balance between those two. And that's pretty much everything. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell, because YouTube notifications have been weird lately. And yeah, you boys and gals take care, and I will catch you guys tomorrow with another video. Toodles!